What's up guys, Readiness Reviews here with you again, and I'm coming at you today with another military surplus firearm unboxing. This of course is a pistol. In fact, this is one of the newly imported Walther P38 handguns that were just put on the market by Century Arms. These 9mm post-war P38s are available pretty much everywhere right now, and I am dying to see what kind of condition the one that I received came in. Before we crack into this box to check out my P38, I want to remind you guys to give this video a thumbs up if you like seeing these military surplus firearm unboxings here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future content, including deal alerts. And if you have any ideas for future videos you would like to see from me, let me know about those down in the comments. Now let's have a look at this German Walther P38. So my particular example of Walther P38 was purchased directly from Century Arms. If you have a CNR license, you're able to shop with them directly. But even if you don't have a CNR, these particular handguns are available pretty much everywhere that sells Milsurps at the moment. We will be opening this one up today with a bayonet. If you know what rifle this bayonet goes to, let me know down in the comments. Sort of jagged, but it got the job done. So there's our label for the box. Pistol, Germany, Walther, P38, post-war aluminum frame, 9mm. And that label was just printed on May 8th, less than a month ago. A little bit of packing paper, and there we are. Got a bit of Cosmoline on it. Let's give it a quick safety check here first. Magazine with a big old blob of grease. They had a zip tie as a chamber flag. And of course, we have a safe firearm. The tag on the pistol reiterates what we saw on the box. And we have a little additional tag on here. This must have been something internal or came from the people that Century imported it from, because it doesn't really have any useful information to us. Well, on first external glance, it's not looking too bad. Definitely a little bit of service wear. Karl Walther Waffen Fabric P38 Cal 9mm. And on the right side of the firearm, we can see our production date, 3/60, so that's going to be March 1960. Now, a lot of you might be questioning that date. You might think of the P38 as a World War II handgun, and of course it was. There were actually more P38s produced in World War II than Lugers. After the fall of Nazi Germany, production of P38s was halted. However, France did continue putting together quite a few from parts, and those are known as the Grey Ghost P38s. After some years passed though, Germany was once again looking to rearm their military, and they decided to put the venerable P38 back into production. Now, it's my understanding that the P38 went back into production in 1957, and I always thought that the new P38 that the Bundeswehr adopted as their standard service arm was designated the P1. And I've seen P1 pistols, so I know they're a thing. What I don't know is why this post-war aluminum frame example is being called a P38. Does that mean that these pistols were not military service pistols, or did Walther just simply make both P1s and P38s in the 1960s and 70s? As far as markings go, we have a little star and what appears to be a crown, another crown on the right side, a couple more on the frame there. I'm certainly no expert when it comes to post-war German firearms, so if any of those markings mean anything to any of you, please let me know about them down in the comments. I have a lot of research left to do on this particular handgun. The magazine is Walther production, P38 9mm. It is non-matching though, and its production date is April 1961, just a year after the pistol itself was made. The biggest difference in these currently available P38s and your original World War II variant P38 is this aluminum frame. It makes a big difference in the weight department. You can definitely tell it in hand compared to an original World War II one. By all indications, that aluminum frame is plenty strong enough to hold up to 9mm NATO. However, the Bundeswehr did make moves later in the production of the P1 to reinforce the frame, and they actually beefed up the slide as well. This being an earlier example aluminum frame, it does not have those strengthening updates. There's still a lot of cleaning to do on this pistol to really know exactly what kind of shape it's in. But as far as the external condition looks here on first glance, it seems to be in pretty darn good condition. We can definitely tell some holster wear here. On the high points, the bluing is fading just a little bit, but nothing appears to be broken. The grips are all in one piece. The sights are not at all loose. The sight picture on this P38 is a U-notch in the rear and a blade in the front. Pretty standard stuff. These are a double action, single action handgun. With the hammer down, we can pull the trigger, pulling the hammer all the way to the rear and firing. Had that fired on a live cartridge, the slide would have went rearward, locking the hammer backwards, and now giving you a single action trigger pull. Let's see how that single action trigger is. With all this gunk, I don't expect the trigger to be that great. It will most likely improve with cleaning, but let's see. So I'm gonna squeeze it very nice and gently. It had a little bit of take up. That felt pretty good to me. Give that trigger one more try there. Yeah, that feels good. The trigger is not bad at all in single action at least. Let's take her apart. On the Walther, it needs to be in the safety position. To disassemble, we retract the slide on an empty magazine, and then remove our magazine, rotate our takedown lever, and then let our slide down. And everything comes off. P38 comes out in 3 nice individual pieces. The barrel in here is where all of our locking happens. Lots of grease and grime to get through there, but everything looks to be in proper order. Well, the bore needs a cleaning, just like everything on the handgun, but that rifling looks pretty good, and things look decently shiny. Things are looking up as far as it being a good shooter goes. The inside of the slide is a chunk of steel, very heavily greased. Interesting import mark here. CAI, Century Arms International, made in Germany. I've never seen an import mark on the underside of a slide like that, but I really like it. Having it in a place where no one will ever see it is a huge bonus in my opinion. Let's see if there's any other import marks on here that we might have missed. Sometimes there'll be one here on the front grip strap, not on this one, nothing around the trigger guard. You can really tell the aluminum. By the way, this grip piece weighs basically nothing because it is aluminum. Yeah, no other import marks on that as far as I can tell. There's our little recoil springs. There's one on either side, and they have these little guide rod plungers. The slide rails are aluminum, but they're pretty thick. We can tell where it's rubbed down a good bit. That lets me know this pistol saw a decent amount of surface. Given what the bore's looking like though, I still don't think it's been shot a ton. And there was no kind of import marking on the barrel assembly. I wasn't quite satisfied here looking at things all greasy, so why don't we just wipe it down ever so slightly just to get that surface cosmoline off. Maybe we can see things a little better here. That definitely made our stampings a bit more sharp. That is a good looking slide. The bluing looks nice, but it is thinning near the muzzle end here, and we can see where it's been placed in and out of a holster a whole bunch. The only serial number on this thing is on the receiver, here stamped into the aluminum. So I suppose legally, this would still be your firearm. It's the serialized part. This would be the receiver. How Century Arms is getting away, putting their import marks on a non-serialized part, I don't know, but I'm not mad about it. I do think we need a better look at this bore. So without using any chemicals or anything, I'm gonna run a nylon brush down it just to get that gack out of there. And now that we have removed the gack, check that bore out. Nice, crisp rifling, shiny, heck yeah. The crown's not the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, but I have a feeling this is probably gonna shoot decently good. Nice looking bore, good feeling trigger. Those things usually add up to a good shooting handgun. Let's get her back together. Slide the barrel back into the slide. Make sure our little tabs are depressed and in line. And then simply slide the frame back on. Push it back, rotate our takedown lever. And she's back together. By the way, when you take one of these firearms off safe, the trigger goes back into the double action position. And if this firearm is in firing position with the hammer back and in single action mode and you put it on safe, it drops the hammer. Without having fired it yet, we don't know exactly what to think of this firearm, but at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that I'm very happy with what kind of external condition that it came in. It is certainly a handsome handgun. At the time of purchase, Century Arms was offering 3 different tiers of condition levels for these P38s. They have a fair tier, which is going to have moderate surface wear. They have a good tier, which apparently will have some amount of surface wear. And they had a very good tier, which will be a near excellent condition example. The one that I picked up here was listed in good condition, and that ended up saving about $30 over what a very good condition example would have been. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy I saved my 30 bucks because to me, this thing looks pretty darn good. I like a firearm with some service wear. That just means that it's been out there and used. I don't think that takes away from the value at all. If anything, it adds to it in my opinion. Right now, the price point on these is $550 across the board. I think that is what everybody out there has them priced at the moment. I think that's sort of your Century Arms MSRP. In 2023, getting a legit German Walther P38, albeit a post-war example with an aluminum frame, for less than $600 seems decently reasonable. Now, of course, I wish these were coming in at like $399. I'd be super excited if that's what the price point was. At $550, it's a little bit tough for me to give them a full recommendation just because there's a lot of other firearms that you can get out there for that kind of money. But if you've been looking for a P38 and you don't mind that these are much newer construction than your World War II originals, then these fit the bill nicely. They're chambered in 9mm, so they're cheap to shoot. They're not a war relic, so you won't feel bad shooting the crap out of it, but they still have all the collector firearm charm in the world. I mean, just look at this thing. It is one of the most iconic looking handguns of the 20th century. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but back a few months ago, I picked up a surplus P1 holster from Victory Arms and Munitions. I did a video on that order because I bought several things from them. I'll link that video right here for you if you want to check that out. These P1 holsters were $15, and last I looked, they still had them. My particular P1 holster here was made December 1977, so it doesn't quite match the age of the pistol here, but it is the correct style holster for this handgun. And there it is in place, just as it should be. Closes up just perfect. So I did a little pre-planning there. I knew at some point I would be adding a P1 or P38 to the collection, and I preemptively bought a holster for it. It's usually a good idea to capitalize on a deal for firearms accessories, even if you don't have the gun yet, if it's one that you might want to pick up at some point in the future, whether it be bayonets, slings, or holsters. The next piece of business with this P38 will be getting it out to the range. I hope to do that very soon, and I will give you guys an update of how it did at the range in a future video, so be sure to subscribe to the channel for that. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up to help it out with the algorithm. Drop me a comment letting me know if you're going to pick up one of these surplus P38s, and if you already have, what kind of condition was yours in. If you know someone else that might find the video helpful, please be sure to share it, because that helps the channel more than anything else. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will catch you in the next video. See you then. Peace.